All right, we're good.
Ready? Okay. Call the meeting to order. The regular city council meeting that's being held on Thursday, June 20th. Being held June 20th, 2024 at 7 p.m. at Seymour City Hall, 401 North Washington, Seymour, Texas, 76380. All notices have been duly posted in accordance and conformance with the government code of the state of Texas, section 551.072C. The city of Seymour attempts to make its meetings accessible to all its citizens. If you have a need of auxiliary aids, please notify the city secretary at 940-889-3148 at least 48 hours in advance. The agenda is also posted on the city's website at cityofseymour.org with the following agenda to be considered. Let's do the roll call. Councilman Lane Wynn. Here. Councilman Monty Glass. Here tonight, Councilman Skylar Hendricks. Here. Council Lady Debbie Gillespie. Here. Councilman Billy Hendricks. Here. Okay, let's all rise and we'll do the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Mike standing, Dr. Jeff Berger will lead our prayer.
Thank you, Mayor. So again, our Father in heaven, Lord, we just thank you for this day. Thank you for many blessings, and we just thank you for the opportunity we have to serve you, God, to serve this wonderful community. God, we just ask that you lift each and every one of us up this evening, Lord, as we make decisions for our community and for citizens. God, we just ask that you bless this council with wisdom and discernment, and always keep, what's most important first and foremost. And we just ask for prayer for our community, God, and just pray that we'll all work together as one, and to do all things, Lord, to glorify your name. So we thank you for Jesus. Forgive us our many sins in Christ's name. Amen.
A couple of announcements. I think everybody here has been notified. We declared a disaster or statement and sent a letter to Governor Abbott seeking help with some of the damage done to our streets and some other infrastructure items. And it's not looking real good right now, but we're going to continue to pursue it in whatever way we can to get some help. Might also mention that we've got a 4th of July celebration coming up at Salt Fork. I believe it starts at 6:30 in the evening. It's in conjunction with the Chamber of Commerce. And there'll be free hot dogs for as long as they last. The remote work center is scheduled to open July the 1st at 12 noon. There'll be a ribbon cutting with the Chamber of Commerce there. And it's been a little bit of a process, but it should open. And all the entire public is invited, the council. You can make it, please try to be there. The only other thing I might mention, we're going to discuss removal of dilapidated housing tonight, and I just want to encourage everybody, any ideas you have to streamline this process. I've been working with Dr. Brader and Lauren have been working, Lauren Bush, to come up with a streamlined way to rid our community of some of these unsightly structures. And just thinking about this the other day, I wish we could become kind of a model for other cities that have this problem like we do. So it's a work in progress, but I think we've figured out some ways to kind of make this process move a little quicker. And what I would like to see is when you see an old worn out house, it's the exception. You just, all of a sudden you're surprised to see one. Now we're not that surprised. So I hope we can get to that point. Mayor Pro Tem Glass is not here today. Anybody else would like to say something or have an announcement? Feel free to speak up. Okay, if not, Dr. Brazier, we have some recognitions tonight.
But we do have one, and it's going to be my honor, privilege to recognize one of our outstanding lifeguards. And so we did recruit a great group of young men and young women to lead our pool as lifeguards. And we've had some hiccups here and there, but we've had one young lady, Ms. Lily Coker, Lily to come forward, that has just done an outstanding, excellent job. It does take commitment, it takes character, and it takes integrity for the young man and young women to come to work each day, bear the heat, the stress, and the focus it takes. And we call that our vision each day there at the pool, is provide a higher quality life for those who visit the pool and keep those people safe. And so when I asked manager Shelton, is there anybody that he'd like to recommend, without hesitation, he said Lillian Coker. And I think she epitomizes the hard work, dedication, and excellence that is required to be a high quality lifeguard and be an example for others. So it's a great pleasure that I recognize Ms. Lillian Coker as Excellence Lifeguard Award, and just say thank you so much for your example and your hard work and for making a difference in the community. So congratulations, and on behalf of the mayor, our council, we just say thank you. So, Kirk, you come up, and y'all just get back here, and we'll stand with the mayor and council, we'll just take a quick picture. We can come, let it on, right here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, would also like to recognize Officer Sawyer, it's Bryce Sawyer, and who do we have over here? Justin, Officer Jones. Thank y'all for being here. Okay, citizen comments.
Look at them all now.
I'm gonna.
25 minutes.
Okay.
Nobody.
Okay. Okay, Dr. Brazier, we've got city administrative reports.
Okay, thank you. You still a lot of thunder, so I'm not gonna talk about this thing again, but, we did, hire James Nicken to run the transfer station, and, he came to us and really did a great job out of the salt work, and so, he interviewed well, and so Ronnie really, thought he had a lot of potential, and he's only been out there a short time, but he's already working hard and making a difference, and putting his own touch on it, but, we think he's gonna do an outstanding job. I think that we have a candidate in mind for the electric department. I think he's kind of holding off on it just a little bit. So we'll hopefully have something firm there in the near future. And on our financials, we had a chance to look at that. So we're performing very well right now. I think we're over 300,000 in the black. And this time of year, as the heat increases, we'll see our revenues, our electrical sales move up. So I anticipate that we'll continue to move forward, but I've got to again affirm our supervisors. I think because they do a good job, they're very frugal, they try to make good financial decisions, and so I appreciate all their hard work. This report is also in your packet there. Good questions there. Ross is here. I can answer that for you. And also in your packet, we have the city council budget considerations, and so each of the supervisors have met with their team, And so they kind of put in what they feel like are the budget needs for the next year. And so that's asking for want any increases over last year. That's what they need to put in a justification as to why they're asking for that. And I thought this process worked well last year, and so I was going to ask the council to go through there and just, it's for you as a council member, if you think it's a high priority, put a 10 all the way down to 1. And then I'll go through there and I'll look at each one of those, and then I'll bring it back to y'all next month and say, all right, this is kind of what and how you graded it. And then y'all can look at that, y'all can discuss it, and say, well, yeah, that's right, or no, this needs to be more bottom or whatever. And then through that process, it really gives us a good idea of how the council wants us to expend those tax dollars. Now, at the very bottom, and I'm not going to much feedback from the council, but if there's anything that you specifically want on this list as a council member, you'll convey that to me. I'll get that on the list, and then I'll send it out for that. So I'll do this over for another 5 days. If there's anything that you want, please add that. For example, Mr. Glass wanted us to come here to do a car ship for the employees behind City Hall. And so I estimated about $10,000 to $14,000 for that expenditure. The justification was to cover the vehicles of city employees, and we do park a few city vehicles back there. That was something you want me to put on there. But if there's anything that you want that's not on this list that you feel should be a priority, then I would just encourage you to do that. That way, every council member can make that consideration, and then they can bring that like everybody else's from 1 to 10. So, if you have any questions about any of these supervisor requests, please give me a call or just come by. They have a deep understanding, or you're more than welcome to reach out to any of them individually that you want as well, and talk to them about that specifically. So that's kind of the way I hope the council will support the process moving. I'd like to discuss that now we can, or you can come out of office and discuss it. So please take those and study it. I know our supervisors have put a lot of time and effort in making these determinations with their team. And as far as the calendar, we do have a fishing tournament coming up, not this Saturday, but the next Saturday. And this is our kids fishing tournament. We usually have a pretty good response, so I just really encourage y'all to be there. If nothing else, just show up, shake a few hands, and wave. I think at 10:30 we'll have awards. It'd be great. The councilman's going to be there, the mayor, and out some awards. It really is fun. It really is. Those kids get so excited. We try to give them new fishing poles or whatever. Waste Connections has donated this money, so I'll be going to Wichita next week and picking those things up. So we always love to see our council, our mayor there. And anyway, that's all I have. Unless y'all have any questions for me.
We can get with you individually. We can get with you individually on some of these. If we have an idea or something that, or a suggestion that we might like to see, we can come in and visit with you like that.
Absolutely, I'll get it on there. So I wouldn't really quite yet, or you can start on it, but I'll send an updated list. Make on know if you don't suggest anything, that's no big deal. But if there is something that's important, we'll put it on there and go from there. We only have so much money. But I think this process again helps us really focus on what the priorities of the council are.
Gotcha. Thank you, Jim. All right. Let's go ahead and move forward then. We've got a couple of public hearings. This is the second public hearing regarding the rezone request. Zoning change at 107 West Cora, also known as Lot 1 through 6, Block 7, Morris Edition, Seymour, Texas, from an R1 residential to a B2 commercial. Judging from the packet, it's for a small trailer park. It's
So the request is not specific to an action. Mr. Mullane has requested that we rezone it from an R1 to a B2. In a B2, you can do anything from a grocery store to a car lot to a liquor store. You can do anything in a B2. It's our least restrictive commercial. Currently, he has an RV park that was not permitted. It's an unpermitted RV park in R1. So, but he's not requesting a specific use permit. He is requesting that the property be rezoned to commercial in its entirety. So that means it would stay with the property as it changes hands, and it could be developed commercially without restriction.
noticed, I mean, like you say, presently it's being used in that fashion, there's a diagram, and some pictures, showing that, but that's good information. He could, if he so chose, use it for another commercial use.
When you make your action later, this is the response from the people within
Okay.
200 feet. I just, today, so you're getting a crude response, however, that really would be in the action portion.
Lauren, on the letter of intent, it says the request so the property may be used for RV. So he's,
Yes, but in,
right, I know, yeah.
Yes, so
Changing the
it's-
zone, he can do anything.
he can do anything.
Yeah.
So his intent is to use it as an RV park, and of course, he wouldn't just go in there and change all of that, he's invested too much money. But if he sold it, or if the RV, craze goes away, and he's like, well, I'd really like to sell or have a dog grooming business right there, well, then you could as a B2, or a grocery store, or a car lot, or pretty much anything that's not industrial.
What's typical for someone wanting just an RV park? What?
They would request a specific use permit, and we wouldn't change the actual use of the land. However, we've done it different ways depending on where the property is located. Well, we did a rezone for H Creek when they did their tiny house cabins in the back. And we did a complete rezone. It was not a specific use permit. It was a complete rezone to a B2. We have done specific use permits in different locations that are kind of mixed into residential. This abuts commercial and residential, so it's really kind of a mixed use area.
All right. When this comes down to action, can it be discussed further at that point? Okay. All right. Let's go down to number 2. This is the first public hearing regarding the specific use permit request zoning change at 1101 North Cedar, also known as Lot 1, Block 3, S&D, that's Settlemyre Davis Edition in Seymour, Texas, for the purpose of an RV park. So that's the specific use permit.
So the land would remain as an R1, and if Mr. Hall has sold this land to somebody else, it would revert to a single-family residence. And then the next person, if they chose to use it as an RV park, would have to come back and reapply for that.
I'll go ahead and raise this question. If someone is in, let's say, kind of a non-compliant situation in terms of non-related, well, it's kind of related. Never mind. Just consider it on its own. This is the first reading. Okay. All right. Consent agenda, any questions on that? We typically have a question, we raise that, try to raise that prior to getting in here. Someone like to make a motion on that?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
There's a motion.
I second.
Councilman, second from Councilman Williams. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Okay, it passes 4-0. Okay, action items. Number 9, discuss, consider, and take action on the 19th hole rental prices and rules. We were setting these prices at the last, on various things at the court, but we forgot about this.
Yes, sir, that was the oversight on my part. I apologize that we wouldn't bring this back to council because if you haven't seen the 19th hole, Todd has really done an outstanding job putting that together. And we feel like there might be some people that would like to just rent that for the evening. And So we needed some set prices in order to do that. So I don't know how y'all fill out these prices, we kind of sketch some things out. You might want more, you might want less, that's completely fine, but we thought this might be a good starting point, for us, for the council to consider. So that's kind of our proposal. I'll see next right or the best thing, but, you know, like y'all's input would be greatly appreciated if y'all take the time to set that, we appreciate that work.
Everybody's seen this 19 rental agreement, $50 deposit, $50 an hour, 3-hour minimum, $25 each additional, or $25 an hour for each additional hour. $150, 7 a.m. to 12 midnight. That's an all day thing, I guess. Renter and attendees must be over the age of 21.
When we originally got this thing set up and built it up, like the whole 19th hole, was the purpose just to have an entertainment room back there, or was it for the members?
Well, it was for the members to play golf, they could go back there and just watch TV was the additional 10, but however, somebody was to take that over and, for example, have a fantasy NFL pick night, you know what I'm saying, or maybe a group of guys would get together and just have a poker night, you know. We thought that would not be an opportunity, they wanted to do that exclusively, they could do something to do that.
I guess the reason I was asking, because we're using funds from memberships, right, to do this, or is it just regular city funds to set it up? We was recycle stuff from the VFW, right, mostly?
About 90% of the TVs were bought with tax dollar funds, but I believe everything else was donated, except for also the pool table, I had that refilled.
Right, I remember that. So that was just used out of, it wasn't from the golf course money specifically?
Yes,
What it was used, or?
for the rebuilding, it was.
No, I meant for the whole south. The reason I'm asking is because if we have this, and we use membership dollars to get this, and we're wanting to set it up for the members, and then you rent it out on a Friday night, when we're having a Friday night scramble, and they want to go in there and hang out, play some pool, watch whatever game's on after the Friday night scramble, and now it's rented, then the purpose of it kind of goes away at that point, because people will probably rent it on Friday, Saturday nights, whenever guys that play golf want to go up there and hang out potentially and watch the game, shoot some pool because of members, you know what I mean? So I guess I like the idea of making more money off of it, but I feel like if you do that, then it's no longer a commodity that's built for the members, it's just a commodity to rent out, you know what I mean?
Well, play for that kid, that'd be different than someone actually renting the whole course, you know, for the whole weekend, and the members would maybe not be able to go play. Or the swimming pool, you know, so you can rent that out, and I know the league out there, there's, it's rented out, we turn it back home, you know, so that is a possibility, but,
Well, is there a way that we can say, put that out there that it's rented? Like the pool or like the stuff that is for the members of the course we're paying for? That way they don't have to drive out there and only have to train and they go home, you know what I'm saying?
we could put that on the soft floor.
Can we, yeah, I saw on Facebook and one of the girls over there, whoever looks it, just took it right in, just,
Yeah, on the board,
I'm not trying to put more work for more, it's something
Well, I'm
that
just thinking on, like,
On a public level, like, I don't know that I want to be the person that goes on Facebook and he's like, Jill and Joe Ball are having a wedding this weekend, so,
No,
you know,
I'm not
like,
saying put a name on it, I'm just saying, pool's closed, not to put it for a party.
You know, the course is reserved, so that way, no golf this weekend is reserved, no swimming this weekend, you know, like a fun little graphic, it says, sorry.
we do post like when it's wet and we close the course or no golf or something like that. I don't think I can tell you that I would get every one of them on Facebook. There's a chance the ball would get dropped. That's a lot of rentals, especially in the summertime, it's rented almost every weekend. So,
But
of
not
course, it's
always.
only rented
Not
3
always.
times. No, not
That's what
always,
I'm talking about.
yeah.
We don't live, nobody goes in Mississippi big room anyway.
So, yes, it could be done.
It's just be the pool and the 19th hole, what I'm saying. And that way nobody can walk in or, oh, I'm sorry.
Or, you know, like you pack up all your stuff and go swimming and go up there to hang out, and you grab your whatever, and go hang out. You get up
Not everybody calls up there and says, hey, it's,
It's cold. Yes.
especially the time of day it's social.
I don't
media.
particularly want to have to put that on my plate, but yes, it can be done.
I didn't say you. I said
somebody else.
Maybe somebody works out there.
Yeah, and they get the reservation, tickets, right? I don't really deal with that, so I'm assuming they get reservation tickets out there and they know when it's gonna be rented, so
They should know.
they get tickets.
Yes, yeah.
So, because Nita and Kendall typically book that, right, and so they get tickets, so my deal would be, as long as somebody out there knew, then yes. Right now, the only two people that have, administrative action on our software page is myself and Nick Wells as a representative of the golf association. And so we would just need to give somebody else an administrative position to where they can post on it. But yes, that could be done.
Thank you.
Any more discussion? The question is, do you want to rent it? And if so, are these fees reasonable?
I'm not getting rid of it.
Yeah.
Like I said, we make some money back on, hey, the TVs and all the stuff out there. I know the pool table money we pay for about 10 years, we're getting the 50-cent deals in there, but it could be paid for eventually. Give it enough.
I'm not against it, I like it, prices are good. Make it on we have on the form, when they do it, any damages, they're responsible for them. Because I know TVs, pool table, kids, people will tear a pool table real quick, so.
So this would just be added to your regular rental agreement, like when you rent the building and it has all the damages and whatever on there. So that we're just adding another rental option, essentially.
So if they rent the whole thing, they would have to pay an extra $50 to get that room.
That's a good question. So I would say no, because if you have a wedding and there's a bunch of toddlers, we explicitly said you can't have under 21 in this room. So I would say that room stays locked and separate.
Kind of like that idea, just keeping it.
It'd be good if y'all to clarify that, so it's not me or Warren, it's our council said this, so it's easier to enforce.
Do you want like to make a motion?
Mayor, I make a motion that we accept the, I think, total rental price and rules.
Okay, we have a motion from Councilman Lynn, is there a second?
I second it.
Second. Yeah, all in favor, say aye. All opposed, same. Passes 4-0. Thank you for the discussion. Discuss, number 10, discuss, consider, and take action on creating a program to address dilapidated housing. Lauren, can you give us a
brief.
thank you?
Brief.
I'm just kidding. It's pretty detailed. It's gotta be.
It's a lot. So this unsafe, dangerous, and hazardous building structures violation timeline, page 79. This is the order of operations broken down. This is the ordinance, easy to read ordinance. So what we have not been doing is requiring people to come to a public hearing if we're not using TCG. So let me back up. If you'll go to the next page, page 80, I think the question that I'm posing with this is, do you want to own property inside the city limits? Do we want to acquire property for the purpose of remediation? If we don't acquire the property, then we have to go the TCG route, because when you go to page, starting on page 82 through the very end of that, that's what we pay TCG to do. All of those actions have to be done. 1 million people have to be contacted. All these things have to be posted. And so we pay TCG to make sure that we follow the letter of the law. But if we own the property, we just tear down the property. We did discuss that there might be a minor fee for a title search to ensure that whoever we awarded the bid to of that property later on was able to get a loan for a house. and that would be between $250 and $500. But outside of that, we don't have to jump through as many hoops. So if we attempt, like on page 80, to get conveyance of the property, then once that is given to us, then we have a lot less hoops to jump through to tear down that property. So the question is to the council, do you want to own property? Do you want to go the conveyance route? And our ordinance is set up to do this. We've just never actively wanted to be, on that side of the fence. But it is a lot simpler because it doesn't take 90 to 180 days like it does with TCG to go through that whole process where the owners will tear it down.
Well, and I don't mean to interrupt you, Mark. What I was thinking is just if we could simplify the product, we're homeowners, and in some instances, there's going to be cooperation. In some instances, there's not going to be cooperation. But where there is, rather than face a hearing and kind of going through this whole process, if homeowners that could be approached and say, would you like to deed this property to the city? And if they were agreeable with that, and like you say, we don't want to take a property where the title's just completely screwed up. But if all that looks clear and they're willing to do that, in my mind, I think it streamlines the process. We do end up with a piece of property at that point. It can go up for bids, but then again, we can kind of control to some extent what happens there, And anyway, I think it's worth considering. We'd actually have two options. That option, property owner deeds the property to the city, we tear it down, or have someone tear it down. Or you go through the other process, if they don't want to deed the property to the city.
So, the easiest route for us to take is that we document and notify the property owner and have them come to a public hearing. They convey the property, we choose to accept that property, we abate that property, we turn around and bid that property out. That is the quick way. But we have not wanted necessarily to have that property conveyed to us in the past. We've done everything, we've followed every avenue up to this point to try to not encourage conveyance to the city, that it is easier for the property owner to not face citations and certified mail and constant badgering from TCG, and it's easier for the city to clean that property up and put it back in an orderly condition that improves the quality of life for everybody in that area. Because a lot of these properties, the reason why it looks like that is those people are not capable, either financially or mentally, to handle the situation that they have. And we're probably going to be the only entity that's willing to step up and take care of it. So it's not about taking that property from that person. It's really about improving the quality of life of the 8 to 10 people that live around that property. And then it should alleviate the stress, the shame, and everything that goes into having a property that you can't maintain. So hopefully it's a win-win for everybody.
Well, and it's just another tool in our toolbox. Like I say, I harp on it all the time, but it is something that I think people notice. I just would like it at some point to look back and say, look, we did accomplish something. So anyway, let's see here. Any more discussion on that? Any ideas?
I'm in favor of that process, streamlining it, and less third party kind of stuff going through, and like you said, kind of harassing them, certified mail and trying to always. Who do we pay the $250, $500 for the house?
The abstract office,
We just pay them.
isn't that who we would ask to do that house?
Right, they would go look at, I mentioned before, and I said, we don't want to take something that
Well, I don't,
maybe has an IRS lien on it or something.
I've been through the process, so I know the process of searching due to make sure you can actually own or sell something based on that, so.
And it
I
would
was just
be,
curious on which party or who would pay for that. 'Cause
one of the cool things is if it's passed through the Baylor County appraisal district already, then a lot of that's been cleared off. So we find that people will purchase off the appraisal district with great intentions, but they're not able to actually maintain the property or fix the property they purchased. So, but once it goes through that, everything's clean, the taxes, everything, it's all been exposed. And so we can kind of see where those properties are, if they pass through that appraisal district, they're a little bit safer than ones that have like 1,000 owners.
If you get one like that, you know, it is simple. So anyone like to make a motion or suggest that we go forward with this? I guess,
We would bring to y'all the properties that we're interested in before, or I would suggest that you give Dr. Rager or the mayor, purveyance over it so that we can say, we have found these 10 properties that all need to be demolished. This is the history, we can track on it, this is the sizes. Which one of these do you want us to send notices to? Because we can tear down 5 900 square foot houses, or we can tear down 2 2,000 square foot houses. So we have to kind of decide what do we want to pick and choose? Are they in the worst places? They have a lot of people around, they have no people around, kind of set up. And so if y'all allow them to make that decision, one or two or both, then that alleviates us coming back to you all the time. The number one thing that's going to constrain our ability is funding. So we have to be able to pay for the haul-offs or this, that, and the other. And so that's gonna have to be understood at budget time, that if you say, I want to tear down 10 houses next year, there's a very good chance that those 10 houses could cost you $10,000 a piece. Now, we're at $100,000 expenditure, so you just have to make sure of that. So if you only budget $15,000, probably only going to tear down one house.
Is there in that process where we go through the same thing and we end up getting control of that property and we go tear it down, could we put it out for bids with the building there, with the stipulation you tear it down within 60 days of purchasing or something like that? So that way we alleviate that fund on some of them, like, hey, there's a 900 square foot house, you want to buy this property, we own it, we're going to give it to you for cheap, but you have to tear it down in 60 days. Like, you have to have the lot clean in 60 days. Can you bid?
You can bid however, you can open a bid notice however the council chooses to open a bid notice.
Right, okay.
I'm afraid you would find yourself in the same predicament that we find ourselves now when people buy some off the appraisal district. So you have to be very careful who you sold it to, because we have people from
Oh, yeah.
other states and
Yeah.
things like that, they're like, oh, I have a bulldozer, no problem, and they never show back up.
Yeah, we deny on the appraisal district for people that aren't from here that are buying properties and just raising jack on prices. So,
Right.
Either way, we're not tearing stuff down, but, okay.
But yes, you can.
I
If that's
was
what you
trying to
want.
if we had 10 houses on the list and we got plenty to tear down 2 big ones in a nice neighborhood that can improve it, and then we had 6 small ones that somebody can tear down for not a lot of money and not want a lot, then you could knock out some.
And that's how we really need to do an audit of the properties that need to be torn down, and then we need to do the research on them to find out how easily they can be done. When we originally passed the beautification plan in 2020, the plan to identify those properties was to use our main traffic areas and then radiate out from there. But there are many small properties scattered throughout the community that we may say, well, that would only cost us $2,000, so let's just try to get that one knocked out and do that one. So we'll just have to do an audit and really look at the properties.
It's kind of like, what's our philosophy? Take the smallest, most easily, disposed of properties and work our way up to the large ones or.
But then you have Cedar Street, which we've all looked at for a year now, that we've been trying to get it taken care of, and it is such a monster that it's not the easiest thing to tackle, right? That needs to be done. So you have both. You have the little easy ones, and then you have the monsters that you're like, nobody's gonna do that but us on Cedar Street.
Yeah, you want to do like a snowball method, like the debt program, is what you want to do.
You just gotta say, but I think that the mayor and George Prager, especially when it comes to budget purposes, we only have so much money after you pass it, we don't know how much money we have, which ones are we gonna get? And we can try to work with the appraisal district too, that as they get properties, we can tear down those properties before it goes back out, and maybe we acquire them from the appraisal district and they become ours, and we take care of that. So there's a lot of options.
I'll make a motion. I make a motion that we, revise this program, or create a program to address these dilapidated houses where we kind of streamline the process and we kind of take over instead of the TC2, whatever acronym. And then we can, in that process, address those and give the power to the mayor and Dr. Brady, city administrator combined, to work through that list and present it to the council, take action on those specific properties based on that audit.
Did you get all that, Warren?
It is recorded.
Perfect. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Councilman Wynn seconds, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same, 4-0. Thank you. Number 11, discuss, consider, take action regarding updates to the yard light contract. There's the informational page, 86 through 88. Dr. Prager, Lauren, do you want
Yeah, I'll just kind of touch on it, Lauren can add what she needs to, but Mr. Joyce had come to us, and I think previously, essentially, they would, so they could get a pole with a light, they'd pay for electricity, and we're out all this money, in order to install the lights. And so we feel like that, so to provide that service, however, we don't think the city should be out hundreds and hundreds of dollars that will never recover. So, Lauren, John, and I, we talked about this, and we went around again, we're not, one of them said this is the stack right now to charge, but after a lot of thought, discussion, we thought this is a good place to start for y'all to consider. So what's highlighted, their in your packet is what we're proposing. Provides win-win for the customer as well as for the city. So, any further questions, either one, I can answer.
we were basically getting nothing from this before, is that right?
Yeah, most of these for electricity, what they purchase, and they're not good. $50, they're nothing, thanks to that.
Yeah, didn't sell electricity.
Yes. So you can see how long it takes by looking at the overall cost, what it takes first time.
Oh.
Labor, pole, the line, so.
Then I noticed we go back, and the light goes out, we go back, and that's part of the service contract agreement. So the city has quite a bit of money invested in this also. We get a lot of requests for that. We did.
It's not uncommon. I wouldn't say we have a lot, but it is a common request. And it's only, right now, it's under $18 a month. And so, you get an entire security system for $18 a month. One of the things I was going to do, and I apologize that I didn't, was I was going to compare this to the private market and see where it compared, so that we could at least tell people, if you don't like this, then you can go to Danny Hendricks, or whoever could possibly do this for you. And all that can be done privately. We can run, there's power, so it can all be done privately. Yeah, it wouldn't impact we wouldn't be retroactive. It would be from whatever point moving forward.
All right. Any more discussion on that? Questions? What about a motion? Anybody like to?
I make a motion to accept this yard light contract as it reads.
We have a motion to do this,
I second it.
and we have a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same. Passes 4-0. Okay, number 12, discuss, consider, take action regarding updating water fees associated with construction. Interesting to me. This probably hasn't been updated in a while.
Chase White came to me, as we've had a lot of recent new construction with mainly these RV parks that are coming in and people are requesting sewer taps. And he said, we're not charging enough to pay, for the equipment that we're using and the things that we're putting in the ground and the labor. It's not sufficient. So he did a lot of research and compared us to other communities and how they do their fee schedule, and this is what he brought back to me. So what you have is just a comparison of what our current charge is and what, Mr. White has proposed.
I appreciate him doing that. Does anybody have a problem raising these? I mean, everything's high. I mean, you just, I don't know, and the current fees were put into effect, but it's probably been quite some time back. Any discussion, questions?
I think it was good, especially since we don't really require any inspections or anything like that when you're building, so we're saving a lot of money just not building a small town to begin with. So.
That's probably true, yes.
I've seen the bills on all those inspections, somebody go to like a bigger city and they get pretty high pretty quick, so.
Someone like to make a motion?
Mayor, I make a motion that we, update water fees associated with construction.
We have a motion and a second.
Second.
We have a second. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, no. You're none. Number 13, discuss, consider, take action regarding accepting bids again for structured demolition of property located at 301 North Cedar. I think we call that the monster. It is a monster. I mean, it's just the way it's situated there. But it's in a highly visible location, and it's just a wreck. Anyway, you want to comment on that, or?
Well, just as a friendly reminder, I think we thought, passed on this before, because we thought someone was going to purchase that and clean that up, and I guess that's not really moving forward. And then second of all, we felt like our previous bid pack that we had was more restricted. And so going into this research, I don't know that it's as restricted, we definitely felt would protect the city. It might open the door for additional folks to get on, and appreciate Councilman Wynn and Councilman Glasslees to review that to help us, work through that process as well. So this is what we're proposing at this time. We'll want back out bids for that property, and hopefully we'll get more affordable bid, more competitive bid for the council to consider.
Yeah, sometimes I was hoping somebody would get in there and take care of it, but it's just, for whatever reason, apparently not gonna happen.
So what we're asking tonight is for y'all to allow us to go out for bids. What's included in your packet is a suggested bid notice. But this is not necessarily in stone, because your bid notice is crafted in-house. So the action that we're asking for is whether or not you will allow us to go back out for bids for the demolition.
So what we've got in our bid packet could change,
Yes.
in some, okay.
As far as the notice, because the notices aren't required to have council action to say we approve that notice. So it may change a little bit, but we just need to know whether or not you'll want us to go out for bids again on that.
And that property is condemned. I mean,
It has completely been fully condemned.
Right, so we don't have to worry with any of that.
All the paperwork is complete.
Big word.
I also make a motion.
Okay, yeah.
I'll make a motion that we go out the bids to tear down the house and we go one receiver.
Okay, we have a motion to do this, 13.
And I'll second it.
Have a second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Here's none, 4-0. Number 14, discuss, consider, take action regarding the disaster declaration. Dr. Brader, you got a little more information on that?
Well, at this time, I have heard back from TDM, and they feel like that our opportunity to get any aid from the railroad is really about 0%. He did say that there might be help from the state or the engineer coming and giving us, which is required by TCQ on the takedown, which that would be a huge savings for us if we get that service for free. But other than that, it doesn't look like anybody's going to come to our aid. But I do think that we probably need to try to just go ahead and just in case something came up, that the council go ahead and take action regarding the disaster declaration. And we'll just keep our fingers crossed and hope for the best.
So the council would confirm the disaster declaration we made.
But maybe,
Yes, without that, yes. Just until future notice, would this go on for 30 days or how long would it go?
it's 30 or 60, yes.
I don't think in the declaration itself it said, I don't think it gave a time frame, but we could set one here, I guess, could we not?
You can do whatever you want. I don't think anybody's ever questioned it. Okay.
Mayor, I make a motion to take action regarding this extra declaration.
How long would you leave this in effect? 60 days?
It don't matter.
Indefinitely.
Doesn't matter, it don't matter.
I don't think so. No.
Is it to accept the declaration?
Okay, except the,
Declaration is qualified by the mayor.
second,
I second.
motion and second, all in favor say aye. All opposed, the same. 0. Okay, 15, discuss, consider and take action regarding the rezone request located at 107 West Court. Any more discussion?
So your sheets that I handed out to you, you had 4 no opinions, which means they don't really care one way or the other. You had 1 in support of, and then you had 2 that did not want the rezone, and 1 that was no response. All of these people own property abutting the 107 West Cora within 200 feet.
This is probably asking more for you to do for them, but in the future, when we get these tomato, like, diagrams of where the
Usually
houses
you
are.
do. Yeah,
Usually I have all of that, and I just did not have that available for you this time.
There's one in here, isn't
There is not as to where in relation the property owners are,
So I want,
Into the
I know that, I want to know like where.
yes. So the,
Next to it?
your 2 no's, 1 is the eastern abutting property, and 1 is the property directly to the north.
Yeah.
There was a diagram at one point where he showed the trailer.
Oh, yeah, he did, yes. His application stuff is still in there, but
Page 100, page 100.
normally I would include with you a map and show everybody's addresses.
And so this one, I had went up there and like inspected, I drove by and saw it, this already had the washroom, we didn't get the little office and all this stuff, and it's already got fully functioning set up.
Yeah,
So I did
so
that.
yes, it is completely fully functional. So the no's that I received, 1, her concern was that that area was platted as residential. And so to have such an unrestricted commercial lot that far into the neighborhood, she was not in support of that. And then the other person was concerned about how it might negatively affect their property in the long run. So like I said, you can have anything in that B2. It's the least restricted one. You could have an automatic car wash, which we found to have a sound issue with that. People who live around it, we didn't know that because we never had one of those before. And since then, we've had complaints about how loud it was. We had to put. So if you do this least restrictive B2, it's fair game for just about anything.
It's Clifton, right?
Uh-huh.
When he come here, after we notified him, right? Then we notified him, said, hey, you're not supposed to be doing this here.
Yeah, he's known for 2 years. that he's been out of compliance.
And, for the rezone, instead of just a specific use, was that advised by anybody you know of, or did he just come here and request?
No, I advised him to do a specific use permit, he returned it as a B2.
So that's what it was. Yeah, I mean,
It's at
I
the,
just would rather it be a specific, if we were, I mean, I'm not.
and y'all have the ability
Discussing
to
it,
make
obviously,
that.
but I would suggest that, and also, since it is a couple of properties in, off the main road into the residential zone, it's more than there's a few properties in. I think I would have a stipulation to put a privacy fence around it or something to that extent to help dampen any of the noise or just the appearance of it, and then any lighting for it, make sure that's all faced inwards and nothing is out into the windows of the residences around it, and that's just maybe a discussion we don't want, but those are pretty reasonable things if you're gonna put something right around houses and whatnot.
It is required that when you have a budding, zones from a residential to a commercial, that the commercial is required to put the fence. So on the east side, yes, on the east side at that alley would have to have a fence. There is already a fence in place on the south side, but it abuts to commercial, it's not necessarily required, but it is required on the east side.
Do you think he's aware of that, the fencing requirement? Has that come up in your discussion?
I haven't talked to him, so I cannot remember if I told him
Okay.
I wondered the same thing, because one of our main concerns was trash, and put a privacy fence there and stop any trash going through.
that. So
This is a corner lot, the fence would only be on the east side, it would not be on the north.
Right, but her house was on the east side.
It's on the north.
Oh, it's on the north side.
Ms. Griffin's house is on the east.
Gotcha.
I know the Seymour PD had no opinion, so I'm sure it went just to the city, but does the police department, you know, that being close, you all had any issues with that property?
We haven't had any calls or anything over there.
Okay. I mean, I don't think, usually we don't have, usually doing stuff like that, I was just curious.
I've driven by any number of times and I really don't see too much activity there. Just, I mean, in terms of like people outside, that kind of thing, but, you know.
He's currently doing it as a long-term rental only, so there's not a lot of in and out activity.
I'm not opposed to it. I just think that if we start butting into the residential areas, that we have those things to help with the privacy and keep those residences more of a residential feel. Because I personally wouldn't want an open RV park across the street, catty corner or next door to the alley either way without some kind of fencing. I don't care if privacy fences for everybody, but I mean, so just because, but especially for a business when they're butting into it. Most cities and businesses, like you said, we have that rule, and especially with lights and the noise ordinance, which we already have, so all that stuff's in place, but I think I'd really rather see it as a specific use permit than a rezone completely. So that way in the future, if he does sell or change it, he can go back to residential. Or that person would have to come and ask to do something if they want to put a liquor store or something up, you know what I mean?
Then all the surveys would go back out again, you know.
Well, they'd have to come ask permission.
Exactly.
Yes, I would much rather be that way instead of having something that should be in residential, the way it's blocked instead of, I've done the zoning before and I always hated seeing a commercial butt up into a residential, because now somebody's got free reign in the future when they buy this or sell it. But you can use that as a selling point, but I'd rather have to come ask permission, honestly. Well, I know you need permission, but I would rather the next person have permission.
If this came down to a specific, you know, the council doesn't have a problem, but it would need to be a specific use, we have to go back through the whole process again.
No, y'all would essentially offer him, you'd be like, we denied you a B2, we offer you a specific use permit with these parameters, he can accept it. If he doesn't accept it, then he's out of compliance and I would have to code him, I guess.
So, okay. All right, any more discussion, or anybody want to make a word of motion a certain way?
I just make a motion that we deny the rezone and offer that specific use. And make sure those stipulations are worded in there that he has to complete the fence and make sure that he's lighting, just as if it's a commercial property, just to remind him of those things.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. And it's approved. Okay. We are, to the executive session part of our meeting. We will adjourn. Executive session closed to the public pursuant to chapter 551 of the Texas Local Government Code under 551.071, consultation with attorneys regarding special utility district failure water. I don't believe we're gonna do that tonight. We have an executive session closed to the public pursuant to chapter 551 of Texas Local Government Code under 551.071, personnel, business manager. Also under executive session number 18, closed to the public pursuant to chapter 551 of the Texas Local Government Code under 551.071, personnel, chief of police. And number 19, executive session closed to the public pursuant to chapter 551 of the Texas Local Government Code under 551.071, an agenda item that requires, if it requires consultation with the city attorney. So it is, I've got about 8:02.